Hello, my name is Allison Weiss. I'm one of the project coordinators for Positive Behavior Support and Inclusion. We are grant funded through the Tennessee Department of Education, and today I would love to take this opportunity to tell you about a free training module that we can offer your schools. Today I'm going to be talking about the CI3T training series, which is a free training series that we would love to offer your school. CI3T stands for Comprehensive Integrative Three-Tiered Model of Prevention, and this model is very similar to the Response to Intervention model as far as academics are concerned, but what makes this a comprehensive model is that we're not only talking about academic supports offered, but combining behavioral and social supports as well. As you can see, the green part of the triangle is your primary prevention, and these are the services that you offer to every student in your building. These would be something like a core curriculum in academics, or maybe a behavioral program or a social skills curriculum that all of your students use. This usually is effective in preventing harm or preventing problems from occurring in about 80% of your student population. Now, for those students that need more support, they're going to move into a secondary prevention tier. And this is about 10 to 15% of your student population that will need this support. And the goal here is to try to help them get support in areas that are lacking in order to get them back into that primary prevention. For some kids, though, if that secondary prevention is not proven effective, they will move up into the tertiary prevention, which is the red part of the triangle, and that's about 1 to 5% of your student population. And these are the kids that are going to need some individualized supports. So basically, what our training series is going to help you do is to come up with this model for your school where you have clear defined supports that are offered in all three components of academic, behavioral, and social. And you're going to have supports offered in a primary, secondary, and tertiary level. We're also going to be defining clearly what it takes for a student to be eligible for secondary and tertiary services. Let me show you a little bit more specifically what is involved in each of the three core components of the CI3T model. In your academic component, it is basically like how you run an RTI school, where you have coordinated instruction that always goes on with and across your grade levels, and your instruction is always linked to state and district standards. This is something that schools do anyways, and they're very good at. And also, schools benchmark those students to see if what they're doing for that student is effective or if they need a Tier 2 or Tier 3 intervention. So basically, that is the academic part of your triangle, and we can bring in RTI specialists to help you if you need some more support in this area. The second component to the CI3T model is your behavior. This is referred to as the school-wide positive behavior support. And basically what it does is it's going to establish and define expectations for each area of your building. And once you have defined those, we will come up with a way that you can teach all of these expectations in a clear and concise manner to all of the students in the building so that everyone is on the same page. We give opportunities for the students to practice, and we reinforce the students for following those expectations. The most important part about school-wide PBS is that we're also using data-based decision making. So we're seeing if what we're doing is being effective in the first place, and we're finding those kids that the Tier 1 primary prevention of this program is not all that they need, and we put them into a Tier 2 or a Tier 3 support. For example, they might need a behavior contract or a self-monitoring chart for a Tier 2 support, or if that's not effective, they might need a functional behavior assessment for Tier 3. Here's an example of one of the first things you will do when you set up your primary prevention area in school-wide positive behavior support. This is called a school-wide matrix. And what you do is you come up with 3 to 5 positively stated expectations that everyone in your building is aware of. This sample school used respect, responsibility, and best effort. So every student in the building knows these 3 expectations. Then you define those expectations in each area of your building. So not only in the classroom, but what does it mean to be respectful, responsible, and have best effort in the hallway, the cafeteria, the playground, the bathroom, and the bus? Now this is just an example matrix, and when we work with your team, we will help you come up with a matrix that fits your school. And then these expectations are posted in the different areas of your school and clearly taught to the students. The third component of the CI3T model is your social component. Now, the way that this is different from the behavioral component is the behavioral part of the triangle is more about how you want your students to behave and act when they are in your school building. And the social aspect is more about how you want them to learn how to survive and thrive and cope, not only in the school environment, but in other environments as well. And this is where we help you decide a validated research-based curriculum for you to use for all of your students. Now, the State Department does require that you have a social skills or character education curriculum that your school offers, so this will help you in that aspect that's required by the state as well. And we'll help you find a curriculum that is going to work for your school. So let's say that you're having a problem with bullying, we can recommend some different bullying curriculums for you. A very important aspect of the CI3T model is all of the different measures that you use to help make accurate decisions. Now, you've used office discipline referrals, attendance, referrals to your S teams or special education, and academic progress measures, and we're still recommending, of course, that you use those. But we're also going to be talking about behavior screeners, and these are something that is going to help with your behavior aspect of your CI3T model. And behavior screeners are a short test that classroom teachers fill out on all of their students. And what it does is it not only identifies those students that have externalizing problem behaviors, which are behaviors that you can clearly see, those students that you already knew needed that extra behavior support, but it's also going to identify those students that are harder to find that have internalizing behavior issues, the ones that are not as easy for you to find. So the important part about behavior screeners is that instead of us just being reactionary and waiting for students with problems to manifest, we are going and finding, actively searching for these kids so that we can get them interventions put into place as soon as possible to help them. Now, here is some data that shows you why behavior screeners are so important and effective for your students. These are data from 6 years taken from an example middle school that used behavior screeners. And as you can see, their first year, they had 77% of their kids that fell in the low risk for behavior issues. Now, we're talking about externalizing and internalizing behaviors. They had 17% of their kids that were at moderate risk and around 7% that were at high risk for having behavior issues. Now, over time, as the school got better at offering primary, secondary, and tertiary levels of support, they began to see that they were able to effectively serve more of their kids in the primary level. From offering behavior screeners that found these kids really quickly, and also offering those other levels of support that we mentioned previously. So as you can see in the last year in fall 2009, they went from having only 77% of their kids in the low risk to now 90% of their kids were at low risk. And you can also see that their secondary and tertiary levels of supports got smaller as well. So you're having less kids that needed to be served in those levels, and that is what we're wanting, is to more effectively intervene in the primary level for those kids. So that shows you the importance of what behavior screeners can do. And speaking of all of these different measures, what we do is we help your school come up with an assessment schedule. And this is where we list out all of the different measures that you do throughout the year. And we write down what times during the year you perform these measures so that everyone is on the same page. And that way we make sure that we do all of our measures at the accurate times in order to accurately find those students that need that Tier 2 and Tier 3 as soon as possible. Let me show you a little more about what we can help you do for your secondary interventions in your school. We will help you come up with a secondary intervention grid. And this is a grid that can be posted in your school so that everyone in your building knows about them. We're going to help you list out all of the secondary supports, academic, behavioral, and social, that are offered in your building. Because a lot of times faculty and parents are not aware of every single support that may be offered in their building. We're going to help you come up with descriptions for those supports. And the most important thing is we're going to help you identify entry and exit criteria for those, so that you're not having kids being referred to these supports that necessarily do not need them. So we're going to have specific entry criteria that they must meet in order to get this service. And then we're going to have data that you will use in these supports to help monitor their progress so that we can see if the secondary support is being effective or if they need to be moved into maybe a Tier 3. Now let me show you what we will help you do for your tertiary supports. We will help you make a tertiary intervention grid, which is basically the same thing as your secondary intervention grid, with the entry and exit criteria and the data to monitor progress. We want to train your CI3T core team with some behavior knowledge so that they can learn how to make function-based interventions. And that way we're making your team as self-sufficient as possible so that you have less of a need of having behavior specialists in every tertiary situation. But at PBS&I, we are also behavior trained, so we can help you with functional behavior assessments and behavior support plans in your building. But the main thing is we want to make you as sufficient as possible so that you're able to offer those tertiary supports within your building as much as you can. So now that I've briefly shown you what we will help you do to help your building with this CI3T model, let's talk more about the benefits of this model. First of all, as I said, we're talking about searching and serving all of students' needs. So instead of being reactionary, where we find a support for a student when we see that there's a problem, we're going to be actively searching for those students that need that extra support and immediately putting them into secondary and tertiary interventions. Also, this model will get your faculty, your students, and your parents all on the same page, because we will be putting all of this information into a manual for your school so that it's right there, concrete, and posted for everyone to see. We also use data in all of the supports that we use because we know how important database decision making is. Also, what we're doing here is instead of having behavior teams, academic teams, and social teams that can overlap in the services that they use and can have miscommunication happening, we're merging all three of those components into a core team, a core CI3T team, that will be taking care of these issues and delegating certain people to help them in this effort as well. So we're talking about a time used more wisely when we're merging these supports together. It's also important to know that Tennessee is moving towards this model since we are funded by the Tennessee State Department. It is our main service is to find schools to train for the CI3T model, and many other states have gone statewide or district-wide with this program. So we would love for you to be some of the few that can get on board with this before it could become mandated by the state. And of course, we know that this model will improve your school climate and improve teacher effectiveness because teachers know exactly what is expected, and also it can improve your academic scores because not only are you providing clear interventions for academic sides of the triangle, you're also providing interventions for behavior and social, which will help students remain more on task and be more successful in those academic areas. And of course, there are many other benefits we can think of as well. So you're probably thinking, yes, this CI3T model sounds like a great thing for our school. We would love to do it, but how in the world are we going to make all of these changes in our building without overloading our entire staff? Well, we're going to be using a training module that was developed by Vanderbilt University and has proven effective for the schools that have went through this training series. What we're going to do is put together different meetings that are spread out throughout one entire school year. So that first year of training, we will be asking you to change nothing in your building. Run your business as usual. That first year is for training and developing this model alone. Then, after that year of training and development is over, you start to implement in small chunks throughout the second year. So this has proven a lot more effective because you have that whole year for a team to come, work with our coordinators, go back to their entire staff, tell them what they're working on, get feedback, bring it back to the next meeting, etc. And it's set up in 2-hour and full day trainings. So November 8th will be our first training that we will be offering those 3 schools that participate in this CI3T model, and that's going to be a 2-hour training where we basically go over the introductions. Then we'll come back and have a full day training in December, and then a 2-hour, a full day, a 2-hour full day. And we will work with your schools in developing and coming up with good times that you can meet, of course. You'll also be doing, since this is with 3 schools, you'll have the opportunity to get to collaborate with those 2 other schools that are part of the training so that you can all kind of learn and communicate with each other. And this is something that is important as well because you are letting your staff know about these changes for a whole year without throwing something on them and then saying the next week they have to implement it. And that's something that helps this model be effective as well, is because you have all year to get that faculty feedback, and then you don't start anything new until the second year. So if you are interested in finding out more about this CI3T training series, or if you are ready to go and want to be one of our 3 select schools, remember that training is free and you can use it for professional development as well. We can get you TASL credits or CEO credits if you need. Also, all of our coordinators, we are available to follow up and support you throughout this training series. So you won't just see us on those training series days. We can come to your school anytime you need with any extra supports, and also can help you with that second year when you're going to be implementing everything that you developed this first year in the training. We recommend that you have 5 team members be a part of your CI3T core team. You can have more than 5, but 5 is a good number. And the suggested members are, of course, an administrator, a special ed teacher, a general ed teacher, a behavior specialist and/or school psychologist, a guidance counselor, or anyone in your school that you feel has good knowledge on database measures or has a good understanding of the different supports that are offered in your building. So if you have any questions, just call us or email us. Our contact information is on the next page, and we can definitely talk you through the application procedure. But if you're ready to go ahead and fill one out, just fill out the attached application form, and you can send it or email it to one of the coordinators. Here's the contact information for our coordinators, and you can email that form back to us if that would be the easiest for you, or just give us a call. If you know who sent you this email, just send that application back to them, or if you know who the designated coordinator is for your county, just send it to that person. But if you're not sure who to send it to Amy Gwilt. She is our senior coordinator, and she will get that taken care of. And when you come to our CI3T training series, you will get the chance to work with all 4 coordinators. So anyone you send it to, it will get into the right hands. And we will let you know if we were able to have you come on and be a part of this training series for this year. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to look at this CI3T intro video. And if you are interested in this, we would love to hear from you. So please contact us with any questions or concerns that you might have. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you again.